professional dermatologist through the website will prescribe you your own skincare regimen that's perfectly tailored to whatever concerns you have. And what's even better is that all of my skincare, oral, and topical medications get delivered right to my door. It's so easy. It's so easy. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to go anywhere. I love it. Today, we have a special deal for you, my audience. Get your first visit for only $5 at apostrophe.com/darkhistory. When you use the code DARKHISTORY, that's a savings of $15, baby. This code is only available to my listeners. To get started, just go to apostrophe.com/darkhistory and click begin visit. Then use the code DARKHISTORY at sign up and you'll get your first visit for only $5. Thank you, Apostrophe, for sponsoring this episode. Picture this in your mind. We're in America in the 1800s. I'm sure you can imagine what that looks like. But let me tell you, life in the 1800s was no picnic. Oh no, it was not. Women are wearing all these hot layers of clothes. Ugh. Nobody's showering. Things were moist. Real moist. So not only was everyone stinky as hell, but germs, they weren't even invented yet. And like everybody was getting sick. And what I mean by that is that like germs are real, but the people at this time didn't know that germs was a thing. Doctors haven't put a name to it just yet. So it wasn't invented. You get it. Anyways, at this time everybody's getting sick because nobody understands the logic of germs. Not even doctors understood how germs worked or how they spread. If you were sick with anything, you know, like let's say you had a fever, they would do something called bloodletting. And it's basically exactly what it sounds like. They cut your arm open and let you bleed your infected blood into a bucket. And turns out, surprise, surprise, this method was not very effective. Did not work. Nay. But that's how they would, you know, heal you. That was like the Tylenol. Cutting yourself and bleeding into a bucket. America. Now, on one side, you had doctors with their not-so-great medicine. And then on the other side, you had religious people and their own beliefs and views as to how to handle sicknesses. So they weren't going to the doctor to bleed out, which, good, since we know it doesn't work. But if they weren't turning to doctors, who were they turning to? God. They were turning to God for help. They believed that the reason behind all this sickness and suffering was a moral thing. Oh yeah. They thought that all this bad stuff was happening to them because they were being moral in the eyes of God. And our boy Graham, he freaking loved that shit. This was right up his alley. That's exactly what he believed. So Graham is out there doing his traveling preaching, and his big hook was like, no more alcohol, which was easy because there was actually already a big push at the time to get booze banned. So Graham is on the road, and he's been on the road for a while at this point, telling people not to drink booze. But something just wasn't clicking. And that's when Graham starts preaching that booze was destroying not only people's health and personalities, but their families as well. So Graham started preaching directly to people, especially women. And after all, I mean, they're the ones dealing with their booze bag husbands while trying to run the household. I mean, look at Paul over here. Deadbeat. He does nothing, you know? He just takes all the credit, whatever. And I'm the one over here trying to, like, do shit. Okay, so this is when people really start to like Graham, because he seemed like a normal, everyday guy that you could completely trust. And that is where Graham succeeded, by talking to people on their level. Finally, the common folk, felt like they were being heard and seen. And while he's starting to gain an audience, Graham has his light bulb moment. He realizes that people's health, religion, and perhaps maybe their lifestyle could all be connected, and that a healthy diet may keep you away from Satan's temptation, therefore keeping you healthy. He was onto something here. This new diet sermon actually starts to do pretty okay. Graham really starts to get attention from his audiences and build a solid fan base. So he takes it a step further. And my movie opens in 5 seconds. I can't help this getting out there.
We find the other guy in the photo. They do pretend to be a couple.
The famous actress is gonna go out with me.
What's happening here?
So he takes it a step further and pretty much tells them, you know how you can really, like, for sure get into heaven, you guys? You need to eat healthy, exercise regularly, and most of all, no more masturbation. Now, first and foremost, as I mentioned, his audience were mainly made up of women. Women loved Graham. So Graham is traveling the country talking to groups of women about sex, which at this time was a very bold move. But what was so shocking was that Graham did not hold back when it came to preaching his views about sex. Again, this is a time when you literally didn't even say the word like booby out in public. No, you did not just say booby. Send her to the island. Get rid of her. You'd be shunned. Game over. Graham didn't care. He was like, yeah, booby, titty, vagina, sex. Like, he was going off. Graham even would preach to married people that they should only be having sex once a month. This was because Graham believed that too much sex was a sin that could leave you vulnerable. But sex wasn't the only thing off limits. I mean, there was something way worse than having too much sex.
Hey,
I hear you.
love you too.
Ow. Ow. Let me tell you that bit. I just hit the phone. Hey, that bit. I like phone.
Okay, hold on. Welcome.